Hey, so just to give a little bit of context here, this is going to be the first episode of a series where I get to chat/interview with some of my favorite video essay creators. To be honest, this is kind of like a dream come true for me. It's something that I've always wanted to do since I first started my channel. But I do have to preface that this is going to be a work in progress. It's honestly pretty obvious that I was shitting myself during the first 10 minutes of this. But I do want to clarify that unfortunately Danny's webcam broke a few days before we recorded this, and I've just made a rule for myself that I'll be doing whatever the guest is doing. So sometimes these will be recorded on a camera and sometimes they just won't. But anyways, enjoy the first episode. As much as I can already tell, there's a lot for me to improve on. It also ended up being super fun. In my head, I pictured this to be like half an hour long. It instead ended up being nearly 2 hours long. But yeah, this is something I want to take very, very seriously. So please, and I mean please, feel free to leave any suggestions or just anybody that you'd like to see me chat with. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to stop babbling here. Enjoy. All right, so good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to anyone and everyone that's watching this from whatever time of day it is. This is going to be the first video of a hopefully ongoing series where I get to chat/interview/ not have a podcast with people who I consider to be my favorite creators ever. I don't know what I'm going to call this, I'm going to be honest. We'll call it like chatting with or something like that for now. But as most of you guys probably know here, my name is Alex, aka that bitch, and I feel super, super lucky that in this first episode I get to talk with one of my favorite creators in like literally in the entire space. Not even joking right now. Please welcome Lines in Motion, aka Danny, aka the biggest simp for buff women, aka the craziest editor that I think I've ever seen in my life.
What an introduction.
I guess the first thing I should ask you is, out of the 50 nicknames that I just gave you, which one do you want to be called today?
As much as I'd like to be like buff connoisseur, I'm gonna say just Danny. That'll be fine. Okay,
yeah, because that's like a long one, you know. Like if it was a little bit, they had a couple less syllables, then we'd probably be fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think on that one.
Yeah, I'd say I hold like the number 2 spot, but like based on your Twitter feed, I'll give you the title. I will definitely just give you the title then. So I guess, okay, I should probably give like a little bit of context as to like, this is going to be the first time like I'm ever recording this. And there's like 2 emotions I'm trying to balance out right now. One is the fact that like, again, like I'm not really that familiar with like talking off of a script. So all of this is just going to be like super new to me, but also like, I'm trying to like hide my inner fangirl right now. So like while I'm trying to have like a cohesive chat with you, I'm also trying to be like, oh my God, it's Lines in Motion. But like whatever. We're gonna set that all aside. Okay, so there's like a ton of things that I'd love to ask you. Part of it is just because like one of my favorite things that I love to talk about is not so much like, I'd say, like, I don't know if you want to primarily call your channel, like, a manga channel, but I would say, like, it's just the predominantly, like, in terms of the content that you make, that's definitely, like that's kind of the audience that you cater to and stuff. And I'd say...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, one, it's fucking amazing, but also, like, as much as I love talking about manga, what I also love talking about, and what I feel like I don't get to hear about that often is, like, other people's creative process and just like how you like to go about making certain things. Like I don't know if that makes it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you and I could imagine like you definitely like behind the scenes probably do it, but like other people never get a chance to like hear that side of you. And I just I personally like am so curious about it. And I know like there's definitely other people that would love to hear about that. And I just it's been a dream of mine to like be able to give people like you like the chance to like share those kinds of things. And so this is kind of just my excuse to one, like hopefully learn a lot about the medium of me, to learn a lot from this, but also like other people and people that are interested in the medium to like overall be able to like learn a lot from people like you or like other people that I personally feel like could do a lot with that, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone has like a different way of editing and just going about their videos in general. So I really like hearing other people's like techniques and ways of doing it as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I would imagine like from your perspective, you make so many decisions and nobody hears about those decisions. Like the first time I ever found out about your channel was from that Blue Period video. And I don't know if that's probably the case for like a lot of people as well. But like,
yeah, definitely.
Would you say that was like the first like big point where like a lot of people got like exposure to your channel?
Yeah, I mean, that one was kind of crazy because when I uploaded it, I didn't really think much of it. I just wanted to do a video on a manga I really enjoy. And then the PV for the anime came out like the day after. So the algorithm, it must have put my video on like the suggested feed of the main trailer. And so the algorithm really pushed that video, and my subscriber account, I think it more than quadrupled in like
What was it?
2
Like, do you remember
weeks.
what the number was?
I think I was around 2,000 before I posted the Blue Period video, and then after, I think it was like 20k.
Oh,
It like really, really pushed it.
holy shit!
But I know. I think a lot of it as well is because when the Blue Period video got into the algorithm, it then pushed the Witch Hat Atelier video. So both of them at the same time just rose in views really quickly, and yeah, it was an insane like 2 weeks.
I definitely noticed that, like, especially when it happened to me, like whenever I had my first video that I guess like quote unquote blew up, it was kind of like an umbrella effect where like one of them would lead to like, so for whatever reason, the algorithm or Susan or whoever's like pushing it forward. And then like the rest of them get pushed as well, and then like the most randomest ones, sometimes ones that like you're honestly not even that proud of, like other videos that like I honestly didn't want that many people to see would like get exposure. And that, like, to me, I don't know how it was for you, but for me personally, like that was a crazy emotional roller coaster just to like see that difference in terms of like how many people were, you know, how many heads were looking at like whatever you were making and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like what you said, like a domino effect. Like if one video does well, you do sometimes see that then like kind of sink into your other videos as well, where people check that out and then be like, oh, let's look at their past videos as well. And it's so weird to just see those numbers. Like, it's just crazy.
No, it really, I remember my first, like, I'd say I probably, if you say that, like, after the Blue Period video, it hit to around 20K, I think I was definitely one of the early ones that came across that Blue Period video. And I even remember my initial reaction that I had when I first saw that. I was like, because in my mind, I was learning, like, a lot of very basic things about editing, and I was like, okay, this is how you edit a video about manga. And then I saw your video, and I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like,
Thank you.
That was, to this day, like, honest to God, like, to this day, I don't know how old that video is, but, like, to this day, it is genuinely, just in terms of, you know, like, let's set aside just, like, the great commentary and narration that's in it, but just from, like, a labor, like, the sympathy that I have for you and just the labor it must have taken to make something like that is absurd.
Yeah, the amount of I sometimes like look at my folder at the end of a project just to see how many images I've like cut out and stuff. And oh my god, I think the one that had the most was my Our Dreams at Dusk one, and I ended up cutting out about 600 images.
Oh my
just
fucking God.
But yeah, it's honestly that's the hardest part about editing manga. It's not even necessarily tricky. It's more so just really tedious sometimes, just cutting out that many. Like, you've got to have a very strong like willpower and patience to like sit there and edit that many. But I just put on a show or something whilst I'm editing them.
Oh yeah, that's smart. I just assumed you had just pure raw tenacity to just,
oh god,
like however long the labor for that must take. And I even like I part of me was so I would say from the Blue Period video on, I mean, one of my favorite things was to just like come across any of the other things that you were making or like ended up making in the future. But it wasn't until I'd say around a week ago where I saw some of the first videos that you made, and you know, in my eyes, I don't know. I mean, of course, like, you'll be able to elaborate on this in just a second, but like, even just in like your first video, I was like, dude, she's like, they're like using velocity and like very so in my eyes, I just like, the thing that blows my mind is or at least what I'm trying to say is like from the very, very beginning, from the very first point of like how you made that video, it seems that you had a very distinct approach in terms of like not just showing manga panels, but kind of making those panels feel alive. And so I'm curious, is that first video really your first video? Depending on how you answer that question is going to determine how pissed off I get. And also I guess the other question after that would be like, what is your reason for that? Like what was the reason for having that approach?
So technically my first video was the Natsuki video on Sound Euphonium, but the PC I had at the time was shocking and it just wasn't able to keep up with anything. So I'd saved up quite a bit to get the PC that I've got now, which is able to run After Effects a lot better. And because I had the new PC, I started meddling around with motion design a bit more. And I'd always wanted to do videos on manga, especially Dungeon Meshi. And that's the very first manga I ever mention on the channel, because that's the one that I knew was going to be one of the main reasons I even started the channel, to talk about it. And I kind of I think before I started on the manga video, I must have been just goofing around with motion design for a good 2 months, because prior to that I'd only had the very basics of learning how to make a keyframe because of my degree at uni. So I pretty much scrapped the Natsuki video and went straight into the manga one. And as I was doing it, I was just having so much fun that I was like, you know what, I might just publish this one first. But in terms of the presentation, I think I had a bit of influence from other creators that I really liked, Captain Christian being one. And I think what I really liked about his videos is that it didn't necessarily feel like standard video editing. It felt very much like he was a motion designer who did videos, which to me just feels very different. And I just really liked the way it went from one scene to the next, it just flowed. So when I went across to doing my manga video, I just approached every single sentence as just, how do I make this panel flow to the next? And that's pretty much what I do even now. I'll probably look at a paragraph of my script and I'm just like, how do I make this flow really well, that the audience is still engaged, even though they're looking at a picture for anything between 5 to 10 seconds. And that for me is the biggest struggle, because I know there are some creators who might put a picture on the screen for, I don't know, 15 seconds and more. But for me, I always worry that that's not going to keep the attention of the audience. Which is why my videos are a constant movement, I guess. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's just, I didn't want to have, I just wanted to make the editing fun, I guess, not just for the audience, but for myself as well. Because it is, again, quite tedious to do some of those manga panels.
Oh, I believe you. 100. If there was anybody who would believe you on that statement, it is me. I 100%. Every time I watch one of your videos, I'm like, man, I don't I just because you say that you do. Can I assume that you do most of your compositions fully on After Effects?
Yeah.
Oh. My soul, my fucking soul. Oh man, I guess, I mean, one of the things that especially I wouldn't say I picked up on this from my early videos, but as I started doing YouTube for a longer amount of time, and I was kind of alternating between making videos around anime and making videos around manga, and the experience was totally different. Editing for one compared to the other was night and day, because
oh god, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, the process is, I mean, I'd say they're both annoying in their own kinds of ways, but with manga, the thing is that you kind of have to give the illusion of motion, they're just still pictures, and it's way different with animation, because animation is already the work is kind of done for you, so there's something on the screen to look at. While I think with manga, you kind of have the freedom to just do it in however way you want it to, and that choice can be very overwhelming for a lot of people, and it also takes way fucking longer, but the result, especially when it comes to videos like yours, is like the payoff, I'd say, is so much worth it, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, like, because manga being a static medium, like, you can't really just like slap it on the screen for like for 15 seconds and expect people to really be engaged, as opposed to an anime clip that could last 15 seconds. And like you said, the work's already done for you. It's already moving. It's like the video I'm working on at the moment is on Promare, and it probably took me maybe like half a day to go throughout the entire film and pretty much edit out the clips that I'm going to use. To do that with manga would probably take maybe, to annotate and pick apart, probably takes about a week. And then to actually like edit the manga panels takes anything from 5 days to 2 weeks. So the production is just a lot longer in general. So when I know I'm doing a manga video, I have to like really prepare myself for it, because I know it's going to be a bigger project. That's not to say that, editing anime or live adaptation, like stuff like clips, example, is easier. It's not about like being easier or harder. It's just like the length of time it takes to edit is just a lot different.
Yeah, I'd say it's not, I wouldn't even, I mean, for me personally, I've completely just fallen into the medium of manga just because the process of making anime, I just felt like the wiggle room that I had to mess around with stuff just wasn't that fun for me, especially because like even spending that half day for is it called Promare?
Yes, the Studio Trigger film.
If even if it takes like half a day, I just find it to be so much more engaging to like, think to myself, like, what can I do with this panel and compared to this one, as opposed to like, I mean, you can do, there's still like a lot to work with, but to me, it was just like, at least for me personally, like it was a lot more engaging. But even with that thought process, in comparison to yours, I feel like I can tell right away that you clearly have like some prior experience when it comes to just making making those panels and the certain motions feel alive. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, did that directly have to do with what you studied before doing YouTube, or was it just kind of like a hobby?
So I've pretty much always enjoyed art. Growing up, in secondary school, I chose art and graphics as my GCSEs. I then took both of them on at college. And then at uni, I did graphic design and multimedia. And that multimedia kind of covered the very basics of video production. And when I say basics, I literally mean like knowing how to turn a camera on.
Okay,
and then,
that's important.
Yeah, and then video editing wise, it was pretty much like knowing how to make a keyframe, because they were like modules that didn't really matter for my course. Like they were like mandatory, you just have to do these little ones. But I remember like really, really enjoying them anyways. And because of my like background in graphic design, that kind of really helped, because it's able to help me just think of visuals on the screen in terms of like hierarchy, what actually looks nice. I mean, I still have to ask for like feedback from friends and stuff as well, but I feel like that worked to my advantage quite a lot. I think if I didn't have that graphic design background, my videos would look a lot different.
I mean, I've even seen like some of the artwork that you do on your Twitter, and I'm like, this is an artist. Like, I've had my own fair share of attempts of like trying to learn how to draw, and then I remember one of the first things that you put up was it was like this sketch of it was like a statue, I think. I wasn't actually sure of what the reference was, but even then when I saw that, I was like, it's just not fair. Like, it's just not fair, man.
Thank you. No, I mean, I haven't drawn in so long. Video editing has kind of taken up as like my main hobby. But I used to draw so much growing up, and just when I went into like college and uni and all the coursework and stuff, I just stopped doing it a little bit. So this year I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to pick up drawing a little bit more. But I think with that drawing background, it's what is able to make me do those videos that are on specific topics in manga, like the paneling, or, you know, like that are very like artist specific, because I've done them myself and I've just been like taught them for years on end. So it makes, how do I say this? I split my manga videos into two different kinds of categories. There's ones that are on themes. It's like my Blue Period one, my Chainsaw Man one, like about a topic in general. And then you have the like art specific ones, like my Dungeon Meshi one, which is about character design, or my Witch Hat one, which is about paneling.
Yeah, or even like the realistic versus stylistic art style.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That, like I just by you saying that, like I can definitely tell that like that form of background must have helped a lot in terms of coming up with the research for that video.
Oh, definitely. I mean, one of the first jobs I had coming out of uni was actually working with this book publishing company who specifically design books based on art. So they would publish loads and loads of art books that had loads of hints and tips, and they'd also hire people from Pixar, from all walks of earth on Instagram, all kinds of artists to help out with these books. And that pretty much just helped even more, really, to, you know, they'd come in to do a book section about fashion, for example, or, I don't know, really obscure stuff like how to make shoes look good on a character. But all those things like that I learned from my time at that company just helped even more.
I mean, it almost kind of feels like you had every single weapon in your arsenal to like make amazing YouTube videos, because it shows. I don't know if it when you first started making videos, like they immediately started getting a lot of exposure, or it was kind of like a slow buildup. But at least from my perspective, as someone who, I mean, I compare my own first video and I'm so embarrassed by it. When I compare that to like a lot of your first work, like it almost feels like this is like your third iteration of a channel. But now, like based off of what you're saying, it almost seems like there was just a lot of paths in life that just almost just led it to being the way that you talk about stuff and the way you like try to make a visual narrative in that kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still look back on like my first two videos and I don't really like see them as embarrassing, more than it is just it just shows just how much my channel's grown.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in the very first video, the manga one, I literally spoke into my microphone the wrong way round. Yeah,
so funny.
I used the Blue Yeti and I spoke into it the wrong way. And you can hear that in the audio, definitely.
You say that, I quite literally also did that too. I like, it's because you watch those videos that are like this, like you know, they show you the direction you're supposed to face the mic, and it's usually like, I don't know, some 40-year-old guy who just like has like a $20 microphone, and he's like, yeah, if you put it at a 720 angle upside down from the ceiling, that'll get like the most optimized audio. And you're like, yeah, that'll work. And then you realize it's completely fucking off every single time. Like,
that's the thing. Like, I didn't even realize until probably like 3 videos in. And I was talking with a friend called Joe, who's the channel Beyond Ghibli, and we talk quite a lot, to be fair. He's like a good friend of mine. And he uses a Blue Yeti as well. And he was like, which way are you talking into this? Because we were on a call. And I was like, well, the dial's pointed towards me. And he was like, no, I don't think that's the right way.
And you were like, oh, right.
But yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's nice to look back on the first few videos, because it's, I think something that some people struggle with in creating their own channel or thinking about it is that they just put it off thinking the video is going to be terrible. What's the point in me uploading it? But for me, it's like, just upload stuff. Even if you think it's terrible, just upload it because everyone's got to start somewhere. And, you know, the worst thing that could happen is that it's incredibly shit.
Yeah.
But you know, if you work on it, you're only going to see improvements. And you know, like my channel's like 2 years old, maybe just a bit older. And even just looking at like the first 4 videos, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see where I've improved, even in like not just like video wise, but audio as well. Don't speak into the mic wrong anymore.
hopefully at least like after 2 years later, you would hope that happens. I definitely like, that's so funny that like we made the exact same mistake. But I guess like I mean, you're spot on about that. I definitely remember the first times while making my first video, it was such a miserable and embarrassing process just because one, you're staring into your computer, reading off of a script, talking into a microphone, and from the outside perspective, you just look like a psychopath. Like it's just, and you're also like, while you're editing, you're hearing your own voice and you're listening back to it, and you're just like, oh, like this is so. It's a very. It's not. I wouldn't say it's all like fully gruesome. Like it's not bad, but it's you learn a lot about yourself that I don't think you can at least for me personally that I would have gotten from anything else. And you're right, like you're completely spot on. Like I think a lot of the struggles that people have when they start channels is accepting the fact that like no matter how much you try, it's just not going to be good. It's just not. Yeah. And it's just like if the analogy I like to use is like if somebody wanted to learn how to play the saxophone, when they picture themselves doing that, they picture it like 4 years down the line. They picture themselves playing these super beautiful melodies, but what they don't realize is that first year, it's awful. It sounds like a dying dolphin. It's not anything pretty, and nobody wants to hear it, right? And
yeah, exactly.
But eventually, like, and again, like the beauty of it is one, hopefully you do it in a way that you enjoy it, and I mean, just from the fact that it's so awesome to hear you say that during your first video, making the manga recommendations, like it was so fun to make. I hope that whenever people do start channels, like that's the number one priority. Like it really is. It's gruesome, but it's also just so much fun to do, and that's definitely what I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I personally couldn't have carried on the channel if I just wasn't having fun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like there are some videos where something might be a challenge, or After Effects or whatever program that you're using might not be working with you, so you have to like think of a workaround, stuff like that. But I don't think I've ever done a video where I thought, I'm just not enjoying this, like I'm just not having fun, because that's like a number one rule for me. Like I just wouldn't do the video if I wasn't enjoying myself.
Have you ever cut out like a video idea? Have you ever worked on something and just completely dropped it before?
I don't think I've done that. I've definitely, when I've wrote my manga scripts, I think on average, I normally do about 6 pages worth. And sometimes when I'm editing, I'll sometimes look at like a whole page, and I'm like, that is going to take a week, if not longer, just to edit that page worth of script. And so sometimes I'll look at my script and I'm like, do I really need this section of writing?
Oh, wow. I would have thought the opposite. I would have thought you like would keep the writing and just not like go balls to the wall with it. But that's a very, I honest to God, this is the first time I've ever heard that before.
I have to be like careful when doing it, because obviously I don't want to cut anything out that I think, you know, would be missing for like context in the video. I'm pretty like strict on what I cut out, and half the time it's literally me being like, no, I can't cut that. I'm just gonna have to put up with the fact that I'm gonna have to edit for like another 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no, for that Blue Period video, I think it would have been an extra maybe like 5 minutes long. But when I look back now, I'm kind of glad that I did cut that out, because it just wouldn't have added anything to the video.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kill your darlings moments are the ones that are the most gruesome, because when you're doing it, you're like, this is like, it's kind of like that when you're writing a paper and at the time you're like, I'm a fucking genius, like this is the best thing I've ever written, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fail. Like, and especially for videos, I've noticed, like, you notice it like when it's way too late. I almost feel like it's really hard to notice it when you're writing the script. I don't know if that's the same case for you or not.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's the same as well. I mean, when I look at other creators, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Game Maker's Toolkit, who's another big influence on my channel. And he did, I think it was a video on for his patrons, where he showed his script writing process. And he does like 10 drafts. And I was like, that is insane. I'll probably do like 2 drafts and then work to the final. But I have like loads of documents that are like bullet point guesses and just like really obscure like interviews that I've found. So I don't really have like a strict, I go through the script like 15 different times. I feel like that might be one of the things that I probably need to do more.
Would you so I'd say, like, out of all the different aspects of the video making process, is there a certain one that you feel like you really, really struggle with? And then is there one that you feel like is a really good strength of yours? Like, that's something you can always rely on in terms of quality.
I think I don't necessarily struggle with writing more than it just feels like it can take me forever. Sometimes I look at a point that I want to get to and I'm like, how do I write the script that's entertaining enough to keep people listening? And for me, that's what takes script writing sometimes like up to 2 weeks to do, because I just like mess around in my head the different ways to like start the video and introduce it. And for example, like my Witch Hat Atelier video, I really did not know how to just jump into the topic of paneling, because I knew that there might be a lot of audience members who just don't really know what paneling is.
No.
So that's when I started with like the introduction of the Haiku panel, because I know a lot of people are at least familiar with Haiku, and I think I like messed around with the layout of the panels and then showed what the actual panel looks like, just to make it as clear to people as possible, like what paneling actually is. And I think that's one of the biggest things for my channel, is that I try to keep it as audience friendly as I can, just because I know not everyone is an artist, which I think is quite difficult actually script writing wise.
So it's almost like you're trying to write from the perspective of somebody who's never been exposed to the medium before?
Yeah, I guess it's a mix. Like, I don't want it just to be restrictive to that, but also like I've had like a lot of comic artists and illustrators who have commented on my videos saying it helped them. So I guess it must be a mix of like, if you're just getting introduced to it, like it's easy to understand what I'm saying. But then for like people who are comic artists, illustrators, graphic designers, they can still come away from the video having learnt something a little bit new.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the balance that's really hard to do.
I mean, this kind of reminds me of something that I've been meaning to ask you. Just because we're talking about like a very, we'll call it a normie audience, and then also people that are very, very deep within the community. And I've definitely noticed this with your channel. It's almost like, and you can, I mean, please, like, feel free to give me your input on this, but it almost feels like people, especially within the manga community, know a lot about you. I see you, like, all of my friends who are like creators are very big fans of yours. And I hear like you are definitely, and I mean, give whatever take you have on this, but I personally consider you to be the best editor in terms of just the manga space, and that definitely seems like a title that like a lot of people are willing to give to you. And what I do notice is that like while you are very well known in the space of like AniTube and the manga community, it almost kind of feels like it's yet to be seen for your channel to reach that normie audience. And I was wondering, like, does it feel that way from your POV? Because, or like, would you say you view it from like a different way?
Well, first I just want to say thank you. That was so nice of you to say. I don't know. My channel's a weird one where I feel like when I look at even my manga videos in general, the ones that I thought that would do more well, if not just for the fact that they cover manga that are more mainstream, like my Berserk video or Chainsaw Man video, completely underperformed compared to videos that are more, I don't want to say obscure, but leaning towards that. Like my Dungeon Meshi, say that again. My Dungeon Meshi video, for example, and my Witch Hat video really took off. Which I'll be honest, completely shocked me because I would have thought that, you know, even if you just think of it from like SEO wise and thumbnail wise, that Chainsaw Man and Berserk would be a much bigger hit. But I think from that, what I kind of understood was that, especially in the manga space, there are people who are looking for videos that aren't necessarily just about the mainstream and are about manga that are popular in their own sense but haven't really had any videos on them. But then also I have videos like my Outhouse video. That was actually one of the first, before my Blue Period video, that was one of the first videos that actually took off on the channel a little bit. And then my Harley and Ivy video, that one's done really well as well. If anything, it's probably actually the anime videos that haven't done as well, which makes me laugh because when people call me an AniTuber, I'm like, I don't know if I could even be considered that because I've only done like 2 anime videos, but I guess, you know, it's kind of synonymous with manga, so I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I 100% feel you on that. Well, one, I'm of the opinion that the word AniTube is the most disgusting, like, form of vowels and just enunciation. Like, just, I didn't even know that was the name that we're supposed to be called until, like, probably a year ago. And I was like, really? AniTube? Like, that's the name that we went with? But I share the same feeling in terms of, like, I don't know if you have like people in your personal life that you like to like just share like what you do in terms of like YouTube and stuff. But whenever I have to have that conversation with like friends or family and they ask me like, what do you do? I'm like, there's not a really like a clear cut answer in any way, shape or form.
I tell you what, like I don't really like my family know about my channel, but absolutely none of them are interested in anime, in comics, animation in general, so they don't really care. I do have like 1 or 2 friends who, interestingly enough, they don't care about anime or manga. They actually watch for my like Western animation stuff, and I've had that as well in quite a few comments where people will say, I love the manga videos, but I also love when you know, cover Western animation as well. So for me, it's like, it's a weird, I don't know, like a weird balance of, because I like to mix it up in general as well, because if I just did manga videos, I think I would die.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. So I not only mix it up because I like other mediums, but, you know, as kind of like a break as well from just doing manga. But in terms of like reaching a normie audience, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a weird one.
I mean, it's $1 million question. I would not expect you, like, if we could all answer this, like, we'd all have 10 trillion subs, you know?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it is definitely a weird one because you can have people who might have similar, like a genre of topics as you, and they might do, like, tremendously well, but then you could do a video and it might underperform, which for me, doesn't really like bother me or anything, but it does make me think like, well, what do like normies go for then in that sense, if you get what I mean? Like, what is the general consensus of what makes a video like reach the general public, I guess?
Yeah, it's so funny. I kind of just like threw the word normie out there, but it's like, it's so funny to just imagine someone who's not like super deep into manga. It's like, yeah, you're a fucking normie. How do I please you? Like, it's so funny to like frame it in that way. It is to go back to what you said about because I've seen both the Chainsaw Man and the Berserk video, and it is kind of interesting in terms of the fact that like, yeah, like logistically speaking, in terms of there is a giant audience for it. what I have noticed, at least, and I'm curious, like how it's been for your experience, but sometimes I feel like I cover very niche manga, and it almost feels like there's an audience out there that's like, oh, finally, like fucking finally someone's done it, you know? And I've definitely noticed that, like, especially for you, like, if you were to count how many, you know, Witch Hat Atelier videos or Dungeon Meshi videos that are out there, they don't compare one tiny, like even a fucking molecule in comparison to like fucking Chainsaw Man, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that I think someone replied to me on Twitter about that, because I did talk about like how the like algorithm can favor like some videos and not, and why I was just like, just make the videos that you want to make, because like I said, my Chainsaw Man one didn't do as well, but then one on Witch Hat did. So I was like, just do videos on stuff you enjoy. Like it doesn't really matter in that sense, because it can pop off. But then someone said that the reason the Chainsaw Man and the Berserk one might not have done so well, and it's kind of linked to what you said, is because they already have thousands of videos on them that it's gonna be harder to filter them out. And then when I thought about that, I was like, that's true actually. Let me just look back on my videos, and when you type up some of the manga that I've covered, I think my, like, for example, the Dungeon Meshi one and the Our Dreams at Dusk one, they're like some of the only video essays on those manga. So I was like, oh, okay, that does make a lot of sense then. Like, it's like you said, some people are probably thinking, I really want a video on this manga, and it's like, finally someone's done one.
But not only is it done finally, if it comes to your editing, it's like no one, if once you publish that video, I feel like no one else is going to do that. Like, I don't see anybody else talking about Witch Hat in the same way that you did it. Like, it's not going to be anywhere near as visually compelling. So it really, I mean, more just to give you more fucking flowers, because who cares? But like, this is, it's like, it really is like, it's like a one of a kind experience that if I was a fan of Witch Hat, I'd be like, fuck yeah, like holy shit, it's about time somebody did this.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked as well, because it was like, it wasn't just about the manga in general, in terms of like giving it like a review or something. It was like something about like paneling, which is like so specific as well. So like, I was kind of like, yeah, sorry Witch Hat fans, it's not like a deep analysis into like a character or like the plot in general. It's like on a very niche topic, but people were still very like, hell yes, like, thank God. Which is really, really, really sweet.
Does it feel like there's almost a connotation now when it comes to, I mean, I personally associate, for me personally, knowing that like I haven't really exposed myself, like I've been meaning to read Dungeon Meshi and Witch Hat for like the longest time now, but for me personally, like those two mangas, I just associate it with your channel, and I wonder if you ever hear that often.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear, honestly. I do get that quite, especially Witch Hat. I get that quite a lot. I think a lot of people were introduced to that video as well because the mangaka tweeted it out as well, which then had got even more eyes on it. And I think because of that, yeah, like I have so many people that will message me. I get it with Skip and Loafer as well, where they'll say that they started the manga because of my video, or they were able to convince somebody, like a friend of theirs, to read it because of the video. And that honestly fills my heart so much because I'm such big fans of those series. And honestly, like, if people were to summarize me as just like that Witch Hat video person, that wouldn't bother me.
You could just lay in the coffin and you're like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. What I did with this life, I'm good with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so could you clarify that one more time? You said the Witch Hat author, like, tweeted out your video?
Yeah. This was, I think it was before the Blue Period video, which made it jump in views a little bit. But yeah, Shirahara Kamame, who's the mangaka, she just like tweeted it, just like randomly. But to be fair, there have been, I know recently, a friend of mine, Colleen, the Shihaya Furu mangaka, tweeted out her video as well. So
yeah, I saw that. That's fucking...
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to ask you, just like, and I mean, what is that like? Like, what is it like for you to one already like because one you read this manga and you fell in love with it so much to like make a video on it, but now for that like I guess you would call it like a piece of art to be acknowledged by them. What like in the most detailed way you could say it, like what was that like how did you even feel when that happened?
Well, when I found out, I was actually at work, and at the place I worked at the time, you couldn't go on your phone. But I had my my watch on me, my Samsung one. So I had like maybe like I'm gonna say 20 notifications just blow up at once, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" So I went to the toilet and I took my phone with me just to have a look really quickly, and then I saw that she'd tweeted the video out, and I was just like internally screaming in the toilets.
Danny's just fucking crying in the middle of her retail shift. Like,
it's just like, how do I go back to work with that knowledge in my... I was just like really giddy for like the rest of the week, not even day. Like I was just so... I don't know. I mean, she's like so supportive of her fans anyways. Like she's constantly like retweeting fan art and stuff like that. But that for me was like the first time I think I'd ever seen anyone's video being acknowledged like that. And not in like a, oh, ho, ho, like I'm above everyone else kind of thing, but in just like a, I don't know. It just made me appreciate her even more to think that she even... Like she not only acknowledged it, but thought, you know what, I'm going to share it with my platform as well. Like I was just buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, I mean, and then it also happened to Colleen, who I'm also a big fan of their work, but like I mean, for me, part of it is like I almost get scared. I'm like, do I remember talking about this manga in the right way? Because how are they gonna perceive like the way I talked about it? Like there's a part of me that's like, oh man, like maybe I should have cut out that part, or maybe I shouldn't have said like that joke or whatever. But I mean, I saw Colleen's tweet, and I mean that is like seriously just in terms of like as a manga creator, that is a dream. Like it is such a dream to be acknowledged in that kind of way. And so like, well, one, I'd say like congratulations to you. I think it's very deserving. The witch hat video is absurd. Like I mean, it's one thing for people to be like for a general audience to be able to be like, oh, this was a good video. But it's another thing, I think, for someone, once you're able to get people who don't make YouTube videos, they've never opened up an editing software in their life, and even they're able to appreciate the amount of work you put into it, I think that goes a long way in terms of like, you can just tell right away, especially with your content, that like, oh yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious why, you post so fucking, like, people like us post so fucking infrequently,
Yeah. I mean, there's another channel I really, really love called Good Blood. I don't know if you're familiar with his channel or not, but honestly, you watch one video of his and it's like you can understand why he might take a year or half a year to edit one video, because it's insane the stuff that he's able to do.
Hold on, let me look that up real quick. I think I might know who you're talking about. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Dude, this is the guy who made Untangling God of War. Oh my fucking god! Dude,
he's like a beast.
He's amazing. He's fucking amazing. I mean, personally, I would identify myself as one of the biggest fans of video essays. I rewatch this guy's stuff all the time, just for reference and like inspiration. I'm sure. Are you familiar with Average Pixel?
Oh no.
Average Pixel is another great example of like, you watch one of their videos and you're like, yeah, he takes 3 years off per video, and you like fully understand why. And I guess I mean it's especially like when it comes to your channel, like it's one of the reasons why I'm so how do I phrase this? I've been so badly wanting to do a series like this, because I think when it comes to AniTubers, the question like video essayists get asked all the time have nothing to do with the things that we really care about. It's usually like, how much money do you make? What is like your tier list of mangas and stuff? Where like, well, one, we make video essays. There's a fucking reason why all of us like and either end up making a Patreon or already have a Patreon. It's just like YouTube does not reward the system of how frequently, uploading once a month and stuff. And I'm curious from your perspective, how do you feel about that? Because I know, just from like us previously talking, I know that you work in retail. I used to work in retail as well when I like first started my channel, and I'm curious, like how do you feel about YouTube, just in terms of like financially, or just in terms of like time consumption and how that looks or like contributes to your everyday life and stuff?
I think it can be a little annoying because, like when you work so long on a video, YouTube doesn't really reward you for like, they don't see it as like, oh, you took so long because you're doing such an intensive video. They're just like, you took forever doing this video.
Yeah, if anything, it's a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it really depends on like how you go about your own channel. Like me personally, I know that's going to be the case because I do these videos knowing full well I'm not going to be able to do them frequently. And I can completely understand why there might be other channels like Mother's Basement, for example. I know he posts frequently. But I know that's because this is genuinely his livelihood. And I can completely understand why he's like doing videos so constantly because, well, he needs the money. You know what I mean? Not to say that his videos are bad in any ways. I'd say for the time he takes to make a video, I think he has editors help him out, but like for the time he's able to do them, like his videos are great in that sense. But for the people who like say even Super Eye Patch Wolf is a good example, John, he can take like a good while sometimes to do his videos, but then when he releases them, they're like a good like hour. It's like a good movie session's worth of a video. Yeah,
it's like a documentary at that point.
Yeah, but he has like a massive Patreon following. So for him it's probably not a massive issue because his video like in terms of revenue from YouTube might not be so frequent, but because he has that Patreon following, it might not be as bad for him. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes. But for then people who are still, he's got like 1 million subscribers over that now, so he's sorted anyways. To be honest, yeah. But for the people who are like 100K or less, I couldn't rely on this as like a sole income. You know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't be feasible in that sense, which is why I still have to take on little jobs, do my retail job as well, which cuts into my time doing videos, which is what makes it take even longer to do them. But I think I'm hopeful to think that, if I carry on doing it, my channel's only gonna grow, it's not gonna decrease. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, unless you just majorly fuck up in some kind of way.
I know, yeah. But for me, like I do understand that like frustration in YouTube's model, because it's just stupid. To be honest, I get it from their perspective because they're just like money hungry, just a money hungry machine. So they're like, yeah, we want videos as frequent as possible. We don't care if you put thousands of hours into it or if you put 2 hours into it, as long as it performs well and it does well, that's all we care about. But so like another good channel that I feel like might have a good insight to this would be Captain Christian. I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Because his videos aren't even like super long either. And one of the things, especially this past year, that I've noticed is that videos that pop off recently are ones that are like those videos that are like an hour up to 6 hours long, like really long videos. And I think for some people they've been, and this is not me saying like those videos are bad in any ways, because every single one I've watched is amazing, and I'm just like, how the hell did you have the time to do this? But like 3 hours of like cutting up, like doing an essay on a movie or an anime, etc., isn't gonna be the same as doing like a manga video for an hour.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
that would
Oh
just
yeah.
be
Yeah.
completely different, and that's why I really like Captain Christian's videos, because he actually keeps them short. He's like, I'd say his average view time is like 8 minutes, but I feel like he really doesn't he doesn't waffle on or anything. He just gets straight to the point. You finish his videos and you're like, that literally felt like a minute. Like, he's just so good at script writing that he just doesn't waffle on. And I really appreciate that, because his editing is also insane. And I know that it must take absolutely ages for him to do videos. I mean, he did ones on like Wonder Woman and Superman, which are comic, which just like manga is going to be like a static medium to edit. And you could see the amount of effort he puts in his videos. But I just know for a fact that YouTube probably doesn't reward him for that. His videos get a lot of views, but like financially, he's probably not going to be any better off than people who post really frequently, like 2 times a week or something. And it's a shame, because his videos are, I mean, he might have a really big Patreon following, I'm not actually sure, but do you get what I mean? Like the people who genuinely are like absolutely just amazing at editing, and it takes them a while to do videos because of that reason, they don't get favored by YouTube, sadly.
No, I 100% agree with you, because it almost feels like, especially when it comes to people that make content in the way that we do, it almost feels like you have to do this balance of, I want to make a piece of, like, I want to make a video, or I want to make a piece of art, and I want it to turn out the way that I want it to, but also you have to balance out the fact that, like, me doing that is going to be way less rewarding as me just pumping out whatever I can. It's just like, it's almost like the algorithm doesn't want to reward that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could do like hour videos, but there would be like, I'd do like 2 videos a year.
Yeah.
And that I just wouldn't want to do that anyways. Like, I like to try and keep my videos, not to repeat myself, but I don't like waffling on either. I do try and keep my scripts as, not as short as possible, but making sure that I'm not going off on a tangent or anything. And
that is my fans would like to have a word with you. That is the definition of however the fuck, or whatever the fuck I'm talking about. I guess I mean, the thing that I really respect about the way that you make videos is, even on top of the fact that it might not be as rewarding, you're still willing to do that. And part of me is just kind of like wondering, what is your reasoning for that? And also, is there any desire in you to pursue doing this full time? Like, is there a part of you that just like wants to look at your retail manager and you're like, you know what? Today is the day. You can go fuck yourselves.
If I'm completely honest, like, absolutely, I'd love to do this full time. I'd genuinely love to do it. When I see some other creators who are able to say like, I'm able to do this for a living, I'm like, God damn it, I wish I was in that situation as well. But it's still relatively like early days ish, really, and the channel is growing. It's not even like at a I'm trying to think of the word. Like, it's always increasing. It's not even like it's just hit a
plateau.
lull. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. Thank you. Like, it is always increasing. So for me, my motivation is just that I have so much fun doing it anyways. And I've made so many friends from doing this as well, that it would feel weird to pull out in that sense. Like, to stop doing the videos would be so weird. And I have so many like future video ideas as well. Like, I just can't imagine not doing it. But if it was to get to a point where I could do it full time, that would be, that's like the dream goal right there. That'd be amazing, if I'm honest.
Is there a certain point where you draw the line? Because I would imagine when you say it'd be a dream to be able to do it full time, are there any circumstances where you would say you wouldn't do it? Like, is there a certain style of videos that you feel like you would have to make, or like a certain process that you would have to change to be able to do it, or like would you say anything goes?
Um, I'd say like an anything goes kind of situation, to be honest. Like, I don't think. Well, actually, I don't know. If I had more free time, like if I didn't have to do the real time job and stuff, I probably would be able to upload more frequently, to be honest, just from that like aspect. But I'd still do the videos like just how I do them now. Like, I wouldn't change it up or anything. Um, Kind of like how John does it on his channel. Like, he literally posts whatever the hell he wants. And because he's grown his audience, he's able to do those videos because people are attached to him as a creator and not necessarily just his content, if you get what I mean. Like, I'll see a video of John's and it could be about wrestling, and I have, like, my knowledge on wrestling is literally zero. Like, I have no knowledge whatsoever, but I'll still click on his video and watch because I like him as a creator. And I think that's the best scenario that you could ever be in, where you're able to do whatever the hell you want, knowing that your audience would still back you up and are still interested.
I mean, that's the dream right there. I feel like anybody who makes content, they love to not have to like pigeonhole them. Like, Hazel's a great example of that. Hazel is like the most, like, can just talk about anything they want and I will listen to it. I don't know shit about Sonic or like vintage anime from the 80s or 90s. I'll listen to Hazel talk about fucking anything. And I think that's like, especially, I mean, speaking of Super Eye Patch Wolf, like, given the fact that we're talking on Discord right now, I couldn't help but notice that you and I actually share a mutual server on his Patreon. I'm curious to hear, would you say that you take a lot of inspiration from his content, or would you say there's other content creators where you're like, no, like, I'm their number one fan way more?
It's funny because I know for a lot of people, especially in AniTube, John is a major influence. But I actually didn't know about John until like 4 videos in. And I know he's been here for quite a while as well. So I couldn't say that I necessarily took any influence from him. More than it is, I just enjoy his content and I really like the stuff he does. For me, my inspirations, I mean, I've mentioned 2 of them, Captain Christian, Good Blood. But I also, for me, my inspirations aren't necessarily just AniTube. They go out to like Jacob Geller, Pop Culture Detective. I forget what they're called now. It's something like Kurzgesagt. They're like a German channel.
Oh,
but
you
their
just
stuff
fucking
is
killed it. You just said his name perfectly. How did you just do that? What the fuck?
I mean, at least I hope that's how it's pronounced. But but like, yeah, for me, it's inspiration not necessarily just in our own like bubble, I guess. And it's interesting because I find video essays in like different areas like gaming and films, etc., to be so different to AniTube's that I don't know, like, it's just really interesting to me. And I think my kind of analysis videos, if you will, are more like theirs than stuff that you find in AniTube, I guess. I don't know, it's an interesting one.
Well, I fully agree with you. I'm of the belief that the things that you make are kind of like a byproduct of what you're inspired by. And if you're inspired by other mediums that wouldn't necessarily be around AniTube, I think the byproduct of that is like stuff that feels different. And I would actually, like, I would give you that credit in terms of like, you are kind of a bit of like a standout-ish form of content that I wouldn't necessarily have to be into like anime and manga to really understand it in comparison to like everything else, if that makes sense. I don't know if that I made that kind of that clear.
No, yeah, it did.
I would just say that like well, part of me is just curious, like, was there a channel in particular where it kind of honestly like gave you that moment where you were like, I want to give this a shot? Like, I feel like everybody has that one video or that one channel where you're like, oh, fuck it. Like today I'm going to give this like a chance.
I think it would have to go to Game Maker's Toolkit, because I don't know if you're familiar with his channel or not, but he is a video essayist about games. but his isn't like a video essay in the sense of like Super Eye Patch Wolf or even like Jacob Geller, where it's like a traditional, you're talking about a topic and you're talking about it quite deep. His are more like structured in how I talk about manga, I guess, in that he's like picking things apart that make that medium work or not work. So I think for me, he was the biggest influence because he didn't, his videos are like just slightly different, that he is able to make them slightly educational as well. And I feel like some of my videos do lean into that a little bit too.
Do you is there a certain angle that you try to always follow when it comes to like, okay, if I make if this is a video from Lines in Motion, like I'm going to talk about this medium in this way. Earlier you said that you kind of like to talk from the perspective of like an artist, or you like to analyze. Would you say like those are the two main categories you like to tackle, or is there like another way that you like to just go at it?
I'd say that those are the two big things, yeah. One thing I really try to avoid, and is something that can sometimes annoy me a little bit about other videos, is that when the video is just pretty much a massive summary of like, you know,
plot,
like it's not
characters,
even,
soundtrack, and it's like timestamps for each one.
Yeah, like for me, I really, really try to avoid doing any kind of like summary if I can. I think you have to be willing to a little bit. Like I had to with Witch Hat, just because if people don't know about the manga, then they're not going to have any idea what I'm talking about. So I probably put like a few sentences of like a very basic what it's about. But there are some videos where it's like, that is the video. Like, it's just a summary of like a chapter or something.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I summary very, very little, analysis very high. I guess one thing I don't do so often is make my videos feel opinionated, maybe, with the exception of the Berserk video. Actually, I think that was the first one where I really like showed my feelings towards the manga, as opposed to just talking about it like within an analytical sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I actually quite enjoyed that as well, because it was quite different to what I've done before. Like, I wasn't necessarily analysing the manga. I was very much talking about a specific topic in it. But I think I still favour the analysis kind of way of doing my videos, though.
Well, I'd even say that like the Berserk video isn't like, it's mostly just about the reaction that people have towards an opinion like that. And I feel like I remember seeing the tweets building up to that. You were saying like you were kind of ready, like just mentally preparing for some gruesome reactions. Now that video's been out for quite some time now, like how do you still feel that same way? Was there like a surprisingly positive like reaction? Like how was it?
So I talked to a few friends, Joe being one of them, Beyond Ghibli again, and he's done a video on Berserk, and he's a massive fan. And I normally discuss with Joe like videos that I'm going to do before I actually do them, and he vice versa as well. And he was very much like, you're going to want to be cautious about this video, like the comment section is going to be a bloodbath. And I kind of expected that, to be honest. But I'd say the reception's actually, I'm going to say it's like 75% positive. For me, what's been amazing is the amount of people who have wrote a comment like, I'm a massive fan of Berserk, but I really appreciated this video. And for me, that was just great. Like, that was like the best kind of feedback I could have had, because it wasn't necessarily just a video for people who didn't like it themselves or felt indifferent. I also wanted it, to be able to reach Berserk fans and give them a different perspective as well, without completely hating on the manga, which I don't in the video. And I think that came across quite well given the comments that I get. There are like some very hateful comments, but the delete button is fun to click, so
Oh, you just straight up delete them?
If they've got like, if they're very bigoted, then yeah, just because I don't want... See, for me, the thing about my channel is that I'd say it's actually quite age-friendly, with the exception of Berserk, just because it's such a like M-rated kind of manga.
Mm-hmm.
I've had like a lot of teenagers even comment saying that they've learned stuff from my channel when they're at college or at school. And when I look at my channel, there's nothing in it that I see that would deter younger audiences from watching. And because of that, when I get comments that, I don't know, are like have a slur in it or are homophobic or something, I delete it, not because I don't want to see it. I mean, I don't want to see it, but because I don't want younger audiences to see those kind of comments either. That's that's why I get bothered about them.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully the Berserk video was pretty good actually in that sense, which was again surprising.
I mean, the best thing is that at least like, even for the ones that were negative comments, it wasn't even, it doesn't seem like you were that surprised by it. It'd probably be worse if like you just had your dick in your hand and you're like, what, people don't like my opinion? What? Like it's a good thing that at least you were like, this is going to have very polarizing reactions, which honestly, you didn't even say anything that bad. All you said was that you didn't have a strong emotional attachment in terms of like, in the same way that other people do, which by the way, like I feel the exact same way. It's so refreshing to hear an opinion like that, just because as somebody who makes just videos about like anime or manga, the thing that you'll get asked all the time is to, cover blank, talk about blank, dedicate an entire video on blank. And, people will ask you all the time to make a video on Berserk.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always say is like, well, one, especially for someone like you to have to invest so much of your personal time into talking about that thing, if you don't have that strong of an emotional attachment to it, it'd be nearly impossible to have the motivation to do it in the first place. And it's also like, it really is just like a matter of right place and right time. If Berserk really connects with you and you find yourself like relating to it, that's
amazing for you.
Yeah, that's amazing for you, and I'd love that for somebody. But like, it'd be impossible to expect Kentaro Miura's work to just have that effect on literally everyone who consumes it. Like, that's a ridiculous standard to set,
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, the video wasn't even necessarily targeting Berserk more than it was just the topic itself. Like, the video could have been about a lot of other different shows that I also feel indifferent about. I think I say a few as an example in the video, like I could have done a video about Eva, for example, which I was a bit indifferent about. Could you imagine? Like,
oh my god. Oh man.
I actually feel like that would have been worse.
Oh yeah, the
comment
delete
section
would just be fucking spammed.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, you just rapid fire.
But yeah, for me, the focus was on the topic. And I think that's another reason why some Berserk fans actually liked the video, because they felt the exact same feeling, not towards Berserk, obviously, but towards like a different like show or something. Like, I had this one comment that was like, I'm a massive fan of Berserk. And they went on for a few paragraphs and they were like, I feel the exact same way about the Avatar series, which is an opinion.
I wouldn't personally, but I mean, everyone is allowed to have their own,
Yeah, I mean, I was there saying that about Berserk, so it's not like I could say anything.
No, but if you're just like completely bigoted, like you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're just completely hypocritical about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I was happy that even Berserk fans were able to like take something away from the video. That's kind of why I did it as well.
Has there been, would you say that one led to probably the most negative reaction, or has there been something else that maybe you've said in the past or like that you've uploaded that has led to like, you've been like, ooh, like the internet is out to get me today?
I don't think so, no. I tend to, like, I completely understand doing critical videos, but they're not really for me in terms of like what I create, because if I was having to be like critical on a manga, that is a lot of time to be doing editing for something that isn't necessarily positive, and that would just be really draining for me. So a lot of my videos are more on like the positive side of things. Yeah. And I think that's, another reason, like, I just don't really get hate comments or people really angry. I think the only time I did was the stylized versus realistic one. But a lot of that was because people didn't watch the entire video.
I remember Danny said Vagabond was the worst thing she's ever read, and I was like, that's a strong opinion to have.
But yeah, I mean, some people probably, I mean, literally the very first line in that video is something along the lines of like, which one's better? And I literally say like, neither. In like the first 20 seconds.
It's also in quotations. Like you're not even saying it's better. It's a hypothetically which one is better.
Yeah. And the amount of people that have clearly commented, not having even watched clearly the first 20 seconds. Like I had some people commenting like, how can you do a video about this when, I don't know, realistic is completely better? Or how is this even a topic? Blah, blah, blah. It's neither. And I'm like, yeah, that's literally what I say in the first 20 seconds.
It's like you don't even know whether to be mad at that, or you're like, are they agreeing with me? Or
yeah, exactly.
By the way, great video. Absolutely fucking amazing video.
Thank you. I wanted to do that one for a while, actually. I was just editing those realistic panels. I was like, oh my God. Like there was a dread.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised. I mean, this is just personally for me, but I'd say in terms of one of your videos that really just like left me in awe was actually your skip and loafer video. There was a lot of times throughout that one where I was like, because it clearly shows that you try to put like a lot of emphasis on like flow. And for me personally, like I remember watching the skip and loafer and just learning like so many different ways that you can just, I don't know. I wish I had this like secret key to unlocking what you did with that one, but I remember there was like a good 50 times where I was like just amazed. Like I was just like in awe, and what's unfortunate is that like that's not it hasn't even received the exposure that I feel like it deserves.
That one's a weird one. Like I've slowly seen an uptick in views, but I think that's just because the anime is coming out in like a week or so. So I'm interested to see if that will make a difference to the video's performance, but I kind of went into that one just like I did my Witch Hat one or my Blue Period one, not expecting it to necessarily do well because it's just not well known. But I think out of all the obscure quote unquote ones I've done, that one was the most underperforming. But at the same time, given how like the not lack of audience, but how small the audience is for that manga, I still find that performance to be pretty good. So I'll be interested to see if more people search it up in like the next few months or such. But that video was so much fun to edit on. I mean, every video is, but I love Skip and Loafer so much. It's like one of those manga that just makes me smile every chapter. So that one was so much fun.
Is there a certain out of all the topics and videos that you covered, would you say there's one that like you're most proud of?
Ooh. I don't know. I feel like I don't release a video unless I'm proud of it. So it's kind of hard to say. I did like the really small one I did, the why I like animation or love animation, the small one, because it was so like different to everything else I've done. And that one actually had like, it was a weird one because it underperformed, but it probably had the biggest like excitement about it. Like the amount of responses and like DMs on Twitter and Discord and stuff I had about that video was like amazing. I'm probably going to say that one just because it was so different to everything else I did.
Yeah, I mean that I probably, if there was anything I'd expect for you to upload, that was like the last thing. And I mean I loved it. I thought that that is interesting that you mentioned that, just because I do kind of feel like or at least for me personally, I've never like looked at analytics and stuff, but comments is like the biggest meter that I use in terms of like if this really resonated with people. And I wonder if from your perspective, in comparison to the animation one, is that, do you ever like quantify like a certain reaction? Like do you use like a certain what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a certain, I don't want to say like analytic, but I guess the only appropriate word would be like analytic. Like is there a certain measurement that you use in terms of like you're satisfied with the results of that, if that makes sense?
For me, a good kind of way I can tell if a video has popped off or not, or has been received really well, is by just how often I get tagged on Twitter just after a video has been released. Like if a video has been shared a lot on Twitter, specifically like the Blue Period and Witch Hat ones, especially on Twitter, are really popular, and I still get tagged about them now. That for me is kind of when I can tell like when a video is done well, if you know what I mean. Because people are like not only commenting on YouTube, but they're going on different platforms to share it as well.
I mean that if there was anyone that I knew that had like such a large Twitter presence, I'd say it almost feels like you definitely have like a cult following. You're like whenever you upload on Twitter, it's almost like everybody stops what they're doing and they're like, everybody like shut the fuck up. Lines in motion just uploaded something. And I'm on it. Like I am on that wagon, like ready at all times. And I mean, you're also just like one of the things that I say, like you're so well known within the community. Like I'd say that's like a big indicator to me. It's just like the presence that you have outside of YouTube is like a big indicator for that.
Indicator. Oh, thank you. I don't even feel like I have a big presence on Twitter. That's so funny you say that. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there are some creators who. Maybe it's because they post, not to be like really stereotypical, but they post shonen quite a lot. So they just have a lot of like a bigger following because of that. I know Colleen as well, actually. They have a really big following actually on Twitter. So it's funny you say that because I look at Colleen and they'll make like a tweet about a shoujo manga and it like absolutely blows up every single time. I'm just on there like tweeting about like buff women constantly or something.
Yeah, I saw the one of the sister from Full Metal Alchemist, or not I forgot what her name is, but I can pull it up. But I remember you saying something along the lines of like, "I'd let this woman do anything to me." And I was like,
I mean, yeah, I stand by that.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. It's almost funny though because it almost feels like you have two different sides in comparison to like your YouTube side feels so elegant and so like professional, and then on Twitter, it's just like Ellie or just like or Arcane. Arcane's also like a very big one.
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. Like, if you don't follow me on Twitter, but you just follow me on YouTube, like if it would be almost like a I don't even know, like such like a 360 I guess sometimes with the tweets I make as opposed to the videos that I do. It'd be funny if I did like a video that was so like in the style of how I tweet. It'd be like a breakneck kind of twist, I guess.
Is there a part of you that wants to make that like cross that bridge? Would you ever make a video that's like a little bit more of the unhinged version of Danny?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe. But at the same time, I just like making my silly little tweets at the same time. It's just like, you know, I could be like really heavy into editing. I'm like, oh, I need a break. I'm just going to go on Twitter and just tweet something so stupid. It's just like a nice break for me. But I don't know, maybe one day. Who knows?
I'd be excited for it. The only funny thing is that I mean, given like I personally just I'm used to just staring at the same panel over and over again, and you hear the same words over and over again. The idea of picturing you saying the lines "buff woman" and like trying to like do it in your aesthetic, like doing it in like this like I don't know what you do. Yeah, I don't know if you do like make their biceps move or their boobs jiggle, and you're like, yeah, this is perfect. This is perfectly proving the point that I'm trying to make.
Oh my god, you saying that though, that does sound so funny to do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I expect 50% of the revenue if you do end up following through with that.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
I also I've been meaning to ask, are there is there any avenues in terms of like whether it's writing or editing that you haven't gotten the chance to do yet? I know the thing that everybody always says is they're going to learn Blender one day. Are you one of those people, or is there anything like when it comes to videos where you're like, I just haven't unlocked like the skill tree yet?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you. I'm a journalist. I know. I'm great at this. I'm great at this.
I think for me, I'm kind of limited as to the stuff I want to explore in terms of like plugins and stuff for After Effects, but my PC would just absolutely explode if I did that. There's like the Red Giant like plugin, stuff like that would be absolutely amazing to apply to my manga videos and could elevate them a little bit. But yeah, I think my PC would literally like launch itself out my room if I even tried. So I guess it's not necessarily like a setback in terms of like something I'd have to learn and adapt to, like if I wanted to learn Blender, more than it is just I quite literally can't. So I wanted a house fire.
If any of Danny's Patreons are listening to this, they're looking for a new PC. That's just not I'm just throwing that out there. They are in need of a new PC.
Like a 4000 series, a good
Yeah, just make the shopping list right now. Let them know. Somebody will figure it out. Somebody will definitely figure it out for you. I definitely noticed that, like, I feel like the next level that I've noticed, especially, or at least the closest content creator that I see that does your style of manga editing would definitely have to be Ninjaristic Ninja. I don't know if I said that.
Oh my
name
god,
right?
Yeah.
That's definitely like there's a certain level of frying my PC that guy for sure is like I think
another level.
Yeah, you want to talk about setting your house on fire? Ninjaristic Ninja is like the go-to person. Is that somebody that do you find yourself like learning a lot from creators like that? Do you talk to him often, or
I've actually spoken to Ninja a few times. Just his videos are just absolutely insane, and the output and the speed of which he's able to do stuff is absolutely crazy to me. I have asked him like once or twice, like, oh, how did you do this technique? And you know, he's shared it with me really nicely as well, because there might be some people who are like, oh, I don't want to give my techniques away. You know what I mean? You know, this is sacred to my editing. But no, we've like talked back and forth a little bit, and his videos is something I'd love to do, like his style, I should say. But at the same time, like, it's such fast-paced stuff. Like, it's specifically an AMV to really upbeat music. I don't know if that kind of editing would work well when I'm talking quite slowly and trying to get audiences to understand things. I feel like you'd be a bit like, oh my god, where am I looking? Like,
yeah, it's like too overwhelming and jarring to look at.
Yeah, it works perfectly for what he does, because it's specifically that kind of, you know, like entertainment kind of video, whilst mine are more like, no, it's like when you're in English class at school and they're like, what are the few reasons that someone would write a book? And you've got like the three, you've got like to entertain, to persuade, and to inform. And his definitely falls under entertainment, whilst you could have someone like maybe like Pause and Select. I'd say more like inform and to educate. And I feel like mine probably falls under like to inform and maybe to persuade, I guess. Persuade would be like John, where he's like done videos like why you should watch Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it, depending on like what category you fall in, will change how you go about editing as well. At least from what I see anyways.
I guess like the perfect video would be like a trifecta of the three to be able to have that result for every single way, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did that a little bit with the Chainsaw Man video. Like, I did the first 30 seconds were very like fast-paced editing, and it was so much fun. Like, I get why Ninja does it, because to see the final result is just so it's great. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean that I remember seeing that segment. We uploaded Chainsaw Man videos like pretty close to each other
at the same time.
And
yeah,
I remember seeing that intro and just being like, I really hope, like, I really hope I have something to offer here. But I mean, I think you and I, we definitely take like very different angles. You talk
Oh
about,
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like you use the term waffling. I think my middle name is fucking waffling. Like the thing I always call it is like schizo rants. Like I feel like everyone is a victim of the weird tangents that I like to go on and stuff. And I think the thing is that the sad case with YouTube, I think, is when they see things that work right, it's really natural to think that's the only way that you can go about it. And what I really think is the case is that there's something that can be offered from every single channel. There's not really, like as you said, there's the goal to entertain, to persuade, and to inform. I think there's a lot you can offer with any of those, and it's really like there's nothing wrong with like leaning towards one side than anything else. If anything, it's just YouTube that like that's the hard one to tackle, where it's like, what do you want? Like, what the fuck do you want from me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are certain channels that really gear towards one specific like area in those three. And I enjoy all sides of them, to be honest. I think AniTube, at least from what I've seen, leans more towards entertainment. Like, you know, if you think of the biggest three in AniTube, or what people would assume to be like the trash taste trio, I'd say they all fall under entertainment.
Yeah,
I feel
or like
that's
Scamboli.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they all fall under entertainment, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy also that like the state of YouTube kind of follows the path of whoever's at the top. So when you have a guy like Giguk, Mother's Basement, and Scamboli, who are like the leading I'd say like people who make content around anime, it's almost like the rest kind of view that as guidance as to like what direction to follow. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, anybody who like, there's just so many clones out there of like, you know, people who try to imitate in some kind of way. And the funny thing that I mentioned that now is almost like, I wonder if anyone would even be willing to be a Lines in Motion clone. Like, I don't know. I guess that's like a nice problem for you to have, is that like, there's nobody else who would fucking bother to like even go that route almost.
That would be like the highest compliment ever.
Like,
oh, that would be so weird.
have you ever noticed, like, have you ever personally experienced that where you've either had somebody send you over a video, or if you've noticed like either like a new content creator where you're like, like that looks awfully familiar. Like, have you ever had that moment happen to you?
I don't think so. I think I've seen more people do manga editing, but there were people before me as well. Like Beyond Ghibli did, Pause and Select animated. They both animated manga, just not to the extent of doing it for like so many videos. They'd do it for like a few. But I've seen like more and more people doing it now, I guess. Or I've had so many people ask me how I do it, like an insane amount.
Yeah, it's like the most frequently asked question is like, what editing software do you use? And you're like,
Oh, God,
boy. Oh boy. If you're asking that, you got a long way to go at that point.
Yeah. It's like when people like ask me like, how do you make things move? I'm like, oh boy. Like I've got a video on my Patreon as actually showing how I animate the manga. And I think that video in and of itself is like an hour and a half, and it's just showing like this 3-second clip. But yeah, it's not something that I could really like just write down like, oh, you do this, then this, because I just have like a script just to reply.
Yeah. I mean, whoever asked you that question is a piece of shit, because that was what I was going to ask you next, was how do you make things, how the fuck do you make things move? Because, I mean, okay, like jokes aside, I'd say that, especially what I notice, I mean, I don't move anything. Like when I use a manga panel, I just use the manga panel, and I use pretty flashy colors. Like my style does not fall under that category. I've tried using the puppet effect on After Effects, and it just looks wrong. Like it just does not, like it doesn't, I seriously like do not understand it. And I think one of the things that I really wasn't, able to understand is, do you watch the channel Corridor Digital, like the VFX guys?
Oh, yeah, the guys who did the AI thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's okay. I wasn't even gonna bring that up, but yeah, that is that. I mean, yeah, that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
very
yeah.
true. One of the things that they've talked about in the past, though, like when it comes to VFX, is like,
Mm.
for example, if you try to animate a dragon. Dragons aren't like this might be a surprise, but dragons aren't real, but they follow the rules of like real human physics. So like while
Mm.
it's not something that's in the real world, there's still rules that you have to follow. And I was starting to realize that, especially like when, I mean, there was just like a day where I was like, yeah, I'll try doing what like lines in motion and ninja do. And the thing that I realized right away is like, I don't actually think I understand how humans move. And I want to ask you, like, how do you know that? Like, how did you figure that out almost?
Um, if I'm completely honest, YouTube tutorials. Um, I think the one thing that you do need to know how to do is like redrawing. So like if you're moving an arm, the artist hasn't drawn like the rest of the body underneath, if that makes sense. Like because it's a 2D static platform, you're having to redraw a lot. Like if you're making an arm move, whatever was there once you've moved it needs to be redrawn. So having a good understanding of like anatomy or even the style of which the mangaka draws is sometimes quite a challenge to replicate, to be honest.
I feel like such a fucking idiot for not even realizing that. I didn't even realize that you but that makes perfect sense because
Mm.
the background or like the way the character is designed, like in that context, the author wasn't like, "Oh yeah, I hope people can do like puppeteering with this." Like
Yeah.
it's like if I draw this character, it's supposed to be in that pose. But that's not the same goal that you're trying to reach. Is that what so for example earlier you said that like you did 600 like panels for like a storyboard.
Mm.
What percentage of that it gets redrawn then?
Pretty much every single one.
Oh fuck me. What?
Because like if you make anything move, you've got to redraw, essentially.
And is that what Ninja does as well? Have they is that what they
I'm
mentioned?
I'm going to assume so, yeah, because there's just no way you could, because you can't move something and not redraw underneath, otherwise you'd see what was originally there, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like if you're making a pupil move, but you haven't like redrawn the original the original pupil, you're going to have like two pupils appear and it'd look weird. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's got to do redrawing as well.
Oh man. I mean, I just imagine like at that point you guys must be learning just really 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 niche details about just like certain motions that people do. Like if you raise your eyebrows, like how does the rest of the body react to that if that
Mm.
makes sense? Like how does your face follow up with that? And that's kind of like what I was noticing is like when I was trying to do it, it was so far from like the way humans work that it was like hitting like uncanny valley. And I'd imagine like this is just me kind of like guesstimating, but I'd imagine like when you're editing, you probably have to deal with that a lot. Like just like something kind of feels off about like a certain motion that
Mm.
you're trying to make. Would you say that's true?
Oh yeah, definitely. Or like it sometimes like it can just distort and just look really fucking weird. It can take a lot of fiddling around, to be honest. And depending on the PC you have as well, like how fast it re-renders. So sometimes you can be like animating something for like 10 seconds and you might have to wait for your PC to like re-render it for like a minute, especially if it's a really heavily edited scene, which can be quite annoying and time consuming.
If you
But
could see the face I'm making right now, oh my fucking god, dude! Like, do you ever preview your stuff and it's like Minecraft quality? Like, do you just kind of guess at that point? Is this like,
yeah, to be honest, like yeah, I edit on like the quarter. You know how you got like full,
yeah,
half,
yeah, yeah?
quarter. I'm always on quarter.
Oh my
Um,
god, dude! I can't edit anything below full. Like, even if it's half, I'm like, I can't do this. I don't care how laggy it is. I can't. You,
I render my videos out into sections, so I'll do it all in quarter, render it out fully, and then I see it in its final form, and then I'll like go back and do changes if you know something's like I don't know poking out of a panel box or something like that.
how often do you revisit it? Is there ever a time? So this is kind of me leading into like how much of a perfectionist are you? That's like I really like that is I want to get into like the fucking the deep end of that question. But like if you after you've like done all the rendering and you just notice like, because I think that the thing that we always tackle is like, what is a viewer actually gonna fucking notice? Like, are they like who's gonna give a shit other than myself? How often do you find yourself like tackling that question, and how often like are you like taking action on that? Like, are you like redoing it, if that makes sense?
I'll just point out really quickly as well. I am gonna have to leave in like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, by the way, this is gonna be like the last editor note. But before we recorded this, Danny specifically mentioned that they had like a specific time to go to work, and in my head I was like, yeah, we're fine, we're totally fine, because I thought it was gonna be like half an hour. I did not realize that it was gonna be almost 2 hours. But yeah, perfectly fair, yeah.
But to answer the question, I'd say I'm pretty picky, but then I can upload a video, and then once it's up and on YouTube, I notice a mistake and I want to cry. But then no one comments on it though, so I'm like, oh, okay, I might have gotten away with that. I think the only times I've not gotten away with something is if it's like a very blatant mistake, and it's never in my manga videos, it's always in the anime ones. Like in my A Place Further Than the Universe video, I called Sydney something else, and I honestly don't even know why. It was probably like a genuine mistake, and all the comments were like, by the way, did you know that you called this that? And I was like, oh my god. But with manga, I render out things so often that I normally can pick out things if it's an error. But you know when you stare at something for so long that it kind of just
you don't know
blends
what it is
into
anymore?
like a yeah, it like blends into some morphed blob. Sometimes I can get that as well. Sorry, carry on.
No, I feel so bad. I completely lost track of time. I didn't mean to like in my eyes I thought this was going to be like half an hour long. I cannot believe we're almost like 2 hours into this. I'm so sorry. I didn't
No,
know.
It's all right.
Well, I guess I mean I don't want to get you fired after all this talk about like balancing careers and stuff. The last thing I want to do is like make you get late. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for anybody watching this.
Fine.
That like I'm gonna have to cut off Danny, and I'm gonna have to cut myself off. But Danny has to go.
Sadly, not that I want to, but
unfortunately, no. She's been actually like Danny's just been sending me DMs constantly. It's like, can you cut it, Alex? Can you cut it, please? Can you please end it? This is miserable. This is fucking miserable. No, but before I do end it, I do like want to leave off one last thing. I really like, honest to God, like you have like my utmost respect just in terms of like I personally see myself as having an almost psychopathic obsession with every like with certain finite details of a video, and I really resonate with people who have that same level of like just care. Like I just feel like you put a lot of care into your videos, and I really respect that. I think one of the things that like people always hear about Lines in Motion is that they're like, you know, they use labels like underrated and stuff. And I think, I mean, as much as I want that, like, as much as I find that to be true, what I really want is that, like, you know, I really do hope that there's a day where you could just, you know, we follow the same dream. We'd both love to see you, you know, get to do this full time and stuff. And like, I mean, but I also would like it for it to be a steady growth. You know, I think, you know, people like you and me are so new to it. The last thing I'd want is like, you know, to just make it so overwhelming and have such an overwhelming platform that like it's like too much to handle, you know. I'd love to see a future where like it's steady and it's nice, and like you'll still get to like, you know, have a healthy balance of everything else. I'm just gonna keep going. At some point somebody's got to stop me. Danny, is there anything you want to plug in or like let people know, or just like where they can find you, or just anything? It's yours. The table's yours.
I guess I want to start with saying thank you again. That was so nice of you to say, and I guarantee like your audience feels the exact same way about you, and your videos are so good as well. Like I only hope to see like growth for like both our channels, to be honest, because you totally deserve it as well. In terms of plugs, just Twitter, I guess, if you want to hear about buff women. And
just solely buff women, nothing else. There's nothing else on there.
And I guess I have a Patreon as well, if that's something I should push. Other than that, yeah, no, I think that's it. I had such a great time talking about this, because it's not very often you can really go into like deep topics with other creators and editors in this sense, and I can't wait to hear you talk with more people because it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, that is, to receive a compliment like that from someone who like I hold so highly of is like, again, I've said this, I've been hiding my inner fangirl all the time, so externally I'm gonna be like, yeah, thank you, but internally I'm like so like,
Oh, thank you.
so I really do appreciate that. Anyways, Danny, thank you so much. Like, seriously, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for willing
yeah.
to like come on to this and stuff. I'm not gonna hold you back any longer. Please don't get fired for this. Take care, and just yeah, best of luck to anything, of course.
And to you as well. Thank you for having me on here. Like I said, it was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.